that, I want to pursue a topic that has been of some interest to me, and that is the question about congressional budgeting process. Talk about getting lost in the weeds. But I think it's an important issue because so many problems that we see relative to, call it productivity from Congress or whatever, seem to relate to these great big huge bills which land on everybody's desk at the end of September, start of fiscal
year. We just did one 2 weeks ago.
Right, exactly. And very controversial and so forth. That budget control process comes out of the 1970s. If it worked at all, it worked at all for maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 budget cycles. Has there been any discussion about changing that? And if you had to, if there was some change that was possible, what change would you see would be effective there?
Well, I would say that the budget process has not been effective since Martin Sabo left the chairman of the Budget Committee. He made it work, as broken as it was. But this sounds pretty radical, but I think given how this thing has developed, the number one thing that should be done with the budget is to abolish the Budget Committee. Because what's happened
This won't be popular with the Budget Committee.
No, but I mean what's happened, that has become the most partisan committee in Congress. And the people get put on it are partisan people, you know. So, and I don't know if you know how this works, but they have no authority. The Budget Committee has no authority other than to come up with these numbers. And, you know, they're duplicating the rest of the legislative process. They're duplicating what the Appropriation Committee does, and they're duplicating what the authorizing committees do in the Budget Committee with a bunch of partisans. And so whatever party's in charge, they create a budget that is way off to the left or right, and it makes the whole situation impossible to deal with. You know, but the press treats this as though the Budget Committee is the end-all, be-all, when they don't even have any power to do anything. But it elevated Paul Ryan into the speakership, you know, and others, you know. So that's I think given the way this thing is operating, if we're going to have that partisan a situation, we should get rid of it. Because in the old days what happened is the president would come in with a budget. The appropriators would get in a room, the cardinals, and they would lay out what they were going to do, and they would always come in below the president, and then they would go do it. And the Ways and Means Committee was told if they had to raise money, how much it was, or if they had money left over, how much they could cut. And the budget's basically balanced. You know, now we don't hear anything about balancing the budget. You know, I haven't heard a word in Congress for 3 years about balancing the budget from anybody. You know, so it is broken. And we just, you know, passed a $1.3 trillion budget omnibus bill 2 weeks ago that's not paid for. And what happened is the people on the right wanted, or the Republicans wanted more money for military spending, and Nancy Pelosi and Schumer held them hostage to get more money for social spending, and they loaded the bill up, and it was passed with those people, and a bunch of us in the middle voted no. Because I mean, at some point we've got to start paying our bills, you know. And so the other thing I would do is this: I would go to 2-year budget cycles. That is a problem because we can't even get, you know, we don't get 1 year done. Maybe if we had 2 years, maybe they could actually do a budget that made sense. I don't know.
Well, and of course, that's been a reform that has been kicked around in Congress for a number of years, and there's always been resistance to it. And I'm just wondering, is there a particular reason why there's resistance?
I just think it's the people on the Budget Committee. They don't think they'd have anything to do. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard any specific resistance.
Because sort of biennial budgets are very common at the state level.
And we should. That's what we should be. And Martin Sabo was very strong on we should go to biennial budgets. You know, Martin was my hero on this budget stuff. He really knew his stuff. You know, and we just don't have that today.